Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading today from chapter 5, text number 3. Gaya sa nitya sannyasi Yona dvesti na kansati Nirdvando hi mahabaho Sukham bandhat pramuchyate Gyaya sa nitya sannyasi Yona dvesti na kansati Nirdvando hi mahabaho Sukham bandhat pramuchyate Gyaya sa nitya sannyasi Yona dvesti na kansati Nirdvando hi mahabaho Sukham bandhat pramuchyate Synonyms, word for word. Gaya, should be known. Saha, he. Nitya, always. Sannyasi, renouncer. Ya, who. Na, never. Dvesti, aborts. Na, nor. Kansati, desires. Nirdvandaha, free from all dualities. He, certainly. Mahabaho, yes. Who is Mahabaho? Almighty Armed One. It's the name of Arjuna. Sukham, happily. Bandhat, from bondage. Pramuchyate, is completely liberated. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person is free from dualities, easily overcomes material bondage, and is completely liberated, O mighty armed Arjuna. So let's try to go over this translation. Please repeat. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated. O mighty armed Arjuna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One who is fully in Krishna consciousness is always a renouncer, because he feels neither hatred nor desires for the results of his actions. Such a renouncer, dedicated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is fully qualified in knowledge, because he knows his constitutional position in his relationship with Krishna. He knows fully well that Krishna is the whole and that he is part and parcel of Krishna. Such knowledge is perfect because it is qualitatively and quantitatively correct. The concept of oneness with Krishna is incorrect because the part cannot be equal to the whole. Knowledge that one is one in quality, yet different in quantity, is correct transcendental knowledge, leading one to become full in himself, having nothing to aspire or lament over. There is no duality in his mind, because whatever he does for Krishna. Being thus freed from the platform of dualities, he is liberated, even in this material world. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padanmayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanandascha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanamuscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasachari Sacharine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Beducha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're starting this 5th chapter. We're early in the 5th chapter, the 3rd verse today. And this is just an overview of what we can expect in this 5th chapter, what we're going to be discussing, what is the idea of this whole chapter. So we're still in the first part. Somebody would like to read the first part. KY is Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga is equal to but easier than Jnana.
So this is what this whole theme is. That Karma Yoga is equal to but easier than Jnana Yoga. So we're going to be hearing about Jnana. We're going to be hearing how we're hearing this word sannyasi in today's verse. And how is this all going to work with karma? How is a sannyasi doing karma yoga? Sannyasi is a renunciant. He is not involved in anything of this material world. How is he doing karma yoga? So we're going to discuss this point, and we're going to see how this whole concept is going to, how this whole thing is going to work out. So it's a very, if we try to backtrack, we see that we early in this 5th chapter. The 3rd chapter was also entitled, yes, Karma Yoga. So it is also, so why a repetition? Because this chapter is also dealing something with Karma Yoga. What's the title of this chapter? In Krishna consciousness. So it's a little different, but the theme is the same. So what are we going to expect here? Because it seems similar. So here Krishna is going to take the concepts a little more deeper. So what we're going to hear about is this Karma Yoga, but a deeper aspect of it. Because the goal of Bhagavad Gita is not Karma Yoga. What is it? Krishna Bhakti, Bhakti Yoga. So we haven't come to that point yet. We're still in the 3rd chapter. Although we're in the 5th chapter now, these two concepts are very similar, but Krishna is going to give some more detailed information on it. So here in this 5th chapter we're hearing about Karma Sannyasa Yoga. This is actually what it's called in the Hindi, Sanskrit version of the translation. It's called Karma Sannyasa Yoga. So there's this idea of sannyas over here, and we know the concept of sannyas in its general sense means a renunciant, somebody who renounced the world. So how is that, what is that going to do with karma then? It's a little confusion. So don't worry, Arjuna was also confused, and we're going to see, we're going to try and trace his confusion to where we are now to see why is this come about. So the idea here is not mean sannyas of karma, means not, doesn't mean renounce karma, but sannyas in karma. It's not to renounce karma, but to have a renounced mentality while you're working. That's the idea. It's a very esoteric point. It sounds similar. So it's not sannyas of karma. Sannyas would mean to give up or renounce karma. But it's not renouncing karma, because we're very active. Even those sannyasis within our tradition, they're doing so much of preaching in the material world. So it's not renouncing karma, but it's renouncing the sannyas in karma. It's the mentality. And then later on we'll see how this is called yukta vairagya. So the point is how to be free from bondage, because we know as soon as, why is the person becoming a renouncer? Because he's understood. As soon as he acts, he's going to get reaction. If he acts weak karmically, bad, he's going to get reaction. If he acts within the Vedic paradigm, he's going to get good or bad, good karma, either to fulfill his desire right now or in the future, which still means bondage. So the renunciant, the Jnana Yogi, he understands this principle. He's saying, hey, I don't want to be bound. I want to be out of this cycle of birth and death. How do I do that? And then Krishna suggests this idea of sannyas, nitya sannyas, the one who works but he's not bound. Now when Arjuna hears this, because at the beginning of this chapter it starts with a question. So when he hears this, he becomes confused. What is it? How can you get a renouncer who's working? It's a contradiction. So he wants to see. Now Krishna explained this. Guruji is addressing Krishna here as his spiritual master. He says, please explain this point. So we're going to trace quickly from where did he get, why did he become confused about this point? We'll just see quickly. So Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga, Krishna is saying that they're the same if they're done with detachment. That you're working, but if your mentality is detachment, you're not bound. So it's the same idea as the Jnana Yogi. He's not bound. So it's not the renunciation of action, but the renunciation in action. When you work, you don't renounce the work, you renunciate the mentality of being attached to the work. You work for Krishna, but the mentality is not for me. You understand it's for Krishna. So this is the theme of the Gita. Action can give liberation if it is done for Krishna. This is where Arjuna is confused. Alright, let's see. So if you open to verse 39 of the previous chapter, because we're early in this 5th chapter. So chapter 4, verse number 39, we're going to trace and see now where did Arjuna get confused here. Okay, we'll just read over the translation of it, right? Verse 39. A faithful man, it starts like that in the translation. Got it? Okay. A faithful man who is detached, who is dedicated. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge. So one who is dedicated to knowledge, jnana, study, and who subdues his senses, that means he controls his senses. What happens to this person? He is eligible to achieve such knowledge. He becomes qualified to get this transcendental knowledge. And having achieved it, now that he has it, he quickly attains a supreme spiritual peace. Now Arjuna hears this word peace and he says, hey Krishna, that's what I want. I want to be peaceful. I don't want to fight. I want to run away to the forest. I don't want to kill anyone. That's the word I was looking for. So when he hears this verse, he says, oh, so knowledge, if one practices knowledge, he can be peaceful. So he doesn't have to fight. You see? So that's where Arjuna got confused with this word, Shanti Madhigachati, to be peaceful. Then in 41, that's 39. So he misunderstood there that peaceful there means peacefulness, not to fight. Now in 41. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Again, knowledge is the thing that's higher. So this is Arjuna is thinking, oh, peacefulness, knowledge, yeah, that's what I want. I don't want to fight. So armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. Now, the last word there, stand and fight. Now in 39 he's saying peace, and now he's saying fight. So Arjuna is confused. How can you have a peaceful fight? Can you have a peaceful fight? So he's saying, hey, hold on Krishna, you're saying two things here. So that's what he asks in the beginning of this chapter. Why are you confusing me with two things? On the one hand you're saying peacefulness with Gyan. On the other hand you're saying stand and fight. Now I'm confused. What should I do here? So this is where Arjuna's confusion came about. So the entire 4th chapter, there's no reference to this word of fighting except in this 41 verse. Nowhere in that 4th chapter Krishna speaks about fighting. He's speaking about knowledge and jnana and all of these things, sacrifice. So now when fight comes, that's what he doesn't want to do, right? He doesn't want to kill his relatives. So then he gets confused. Then in 5.1, now we're starting the 5th chapter, right? Now in 5.1, Arjuna said, oh Krishna, first of all you asked me to renounce work, and then again you recommending work in devotion. Now will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial? What am I supposed to do? Be peaceful or to fight? Okay, then in yesterday's verse, 2nd one, the personality of God that replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. So what's Krishna's answer? They both are good. Now how can peace and fight be good? Krishna is saying they both are good. But how? But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of the work. So the point of the Gita is this, to be free from bondage. So what Arjuna is misunderstanding, that renunciation means completely renounce. Don't touch anything. Don't be involved with anything in the world. What Krishna is introducing here is to work for me. Work for me. That's why it's called action in Krishna consciousness. That yes, you are working, but it's not going to be bound like you have heard, or you studied, or you've understood. It's working for me means there's no reaction. This is Arjuna's confusion. So Prabhupada continues in today's verse with the same theme. So the point is to be free from bondage. And bondage comes from attachment. So if you're going to do karma, you're going to get attached. Good results or bad results. The good results are going to please you right now. And if they don't come right now, it will be in the heavenly planets. And that creates attachment. No. I don't want to be attached to anything. Then renounce. Oh, now renounce means to give up. But then how to work? So this is his confusion. So Krishna says karma yoga is better. Of the two, it's to work, but work with understanding of me. So the material body gives insignificant pleasure, but significant pain. So if one considers that as soon as you have to say work, you're acting with the body. Now the material body, we'll see just now, it's designed in such a way that it gives insignificant pleasure. It gives some pleasure, but it's insignificant. So it gives insignificant pleasure, but significant pain. It gives a lot of pain. We'll see just now. So both sense gratification and fruitive activity bind the soul. The soul gets bound by this karmic reaction. So sense gratification is directly acting in gratifying the senses. Fruitive activity is that activity whose goal is sense gratification, and this leads the goal of fruitive activity is, like we said, sense gratification. We don't want to go in that direction. Krishna is introducing a new concept here. So what's the remedy? Develop attraction to Vasudeva. Thus mind is no longer attached to the body. So if you develop attachment to Krishna and you work for Krishna, there is no such thing as bondage. If at all, you get bound by love to Krishna. That's the only bondage, which is a good bondage. That's what we want, right? So that's what we want. This enjoying mentality changes. Just the enjoying mentality changes to service, and he enjoys better in that way and without bondage. So Arjuna understands this point of bondage and he doesn't want to be bound. So the concept Krishna is introducing is Yukta Vairagya, using everything in Krishna's service. So we're renouncing the enjoying mentality and using everything in Krishna's service. If anything that is there to be renounced, it's the enjoying mentality. Other than that, we don't possess anything. We don't even possess the body that we live in. So how can we possess anything connected to the body? So what is there to renounce, like Prabhupada would say? What is there to renounce? You don't even have anything, not even the body you're wearing. So the thing that we do and we can renounce is the mentality of enjoying. That's what we're learning about today. So the only thing to renounce is the illusion that we have anything to renounce. It's an illusion. It's not a substantial understanding. That's what Krishna is saying. Give this understanding up, that actually you have something. So the highest level, actually one has one thing that belongs to him, and that is Krishna, like we said. So although nothing belongs to us in this world, there is one concept, and the very high Bhakti Shastras, it explains that there's one thing that actually the Jiva does possess, and that is Krishna. He can possess Krishna. He can actually control. This is called Mamata, where Krishna is mine. So although he's in the material world, he can still possess something, What is that one thing? He can possess Krishna. So let's see what, in the purport, Prabhupada explained in the word for word, this word nirdvando, no duality. And this is where Arjuna's confusion is coming. There's two things here, Krishna. One is to renounce and one is karma. I'm getting confused here. And then Arjuna Krishna says, actually the principle is yukta vairagya. So externally inactivity looks very easy, but internally inactivity is very difficult. If you're a jnani, externally you can renounce the world, but your desires and your mind is working inside. How do you renounce those? That's why the Vaishnava understanding is to engage that proclivity in thinking about Krishna. Maya Shakta Manapartha Yogam Yunjanmadashraya. In the 7th versicle, 7th chapter starts with this idea. You use your mind to attach to me. Whatever comes in my life, I want to serve Krishna. No matter what comes, the idea of Yukta Vairagya is to use everything in Krishna's service. And the devotee is constantly meditating, what can I use in Krishna's service? How can I use this object? This is metal. This is ordinary, some kind of string. This is plastic. This is wood. How can I use all these things? Projector. How can I use this in Krishna's service? This is what Yukta Vairagya means. It doesn't mean to renounce anything, but see the utility of it. That's the highest principle. Prabhupada told us that. Utility is the principle. If you understand this principle, then nothing can bind you in this material world. So in the purport, Prabhupada describes, one who is fully in Krishna consciousness is always a renouncer because he feels neither hatred nor desire for the results. He's not attached to it. His pleasure is not coming from the results. His pleasure is coming from pleasing Krishna. That's where his pleasure is coming from. So that's an unlimited source of pleasure. So he's not caught up in being attached to anything material. Then Prabhupada describes, such a renouncer dedicated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord is fully qualified in knowledge because he knows his constitutional position, his constitution in relationship with Krishna. He knows, I'm Krishna's servant. As Krishna's servant, what am I supposed to do? I have to act. I cannot stop acting. I have to act. So if I'm gonna act, how can I act in Krishna consciousness? And as he purifies that action, it doesn't become just activity in Krishna consciousness. It becomes, how can I serve Krishna to please him? That becomes his refined, purified state. I just want to please Krishna, no matter what the situation comes out. He knows fully well that Krishna is the whole and that he is part and parcel. Now this idea of part and parcel is a very interesting concept. This is, you won't find this phrase in the English language. This phrase has been coined by Srila Prabhupada. Being part and parcel is being coined by Srila Prabhupada. Now where did he get this idea from? The idea of part and parcel comes from the concept of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. From the Sanskrit terminology, you can't translate direct into English. So Prabhupada coined this phrase. Achintya Bheda, part and part of. It's part of God in quality, like Prabhupada would say, but it's different in quantity. It's part of it, but it's a parcel, it's separate. A parcel, just like if you make a parcel of sweets, it's separate, but it's still part of the whole batch of sweets. It's still a sweet. So Prabhupada coined this phrase from the concept of Achintya Bheda Tattva. Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. Such knowledge is perfect because it is qualitatively and quantitatively correct. It is correct in its quantity and its quality. The concept of oneness with Krishna is incorrect. One cannot be totally one with Krishna. Otherwise, if you were one with Krishna, then in this state you'll also be one with Krishna as a jiva. And then if you are one with Krishna, how do you forget? How come you forgot where you came from? How come you have to be taught everything? So you can see distinctly, just in that simple logic, that you actually are not one. You're actually separate, and technically we are called the marginal energy of Krishna. Because a part cannot be equal to the whole. Just like I said, if a parcel of sweets and a whole box of sweets, it's still sweet, but it's a part of it. You cannot say that the parcel is the same as the box of sweet. Yes, in quality, yes, they're both sweet, but quantitatively, Prabhupada in one Kumbh Mela once, one Mayavadi was arguing on this point, and the devotees were getting so frustrated with this person. And you know, Kumbh Mela is winter, so in the evening the ISKCON distributes food, prasad there, food for life. So in the evening he came there for some blanket. He was feeling cold, so he asked, is there any like blanket or warm bedding that I could use? So the devotee, what he did, he took the blanket, he took a thread from the blanket and he gave it to him. And the Mayavadi said, hey, what are you doing? He said, all is one? The blanket and the thread are one? It's blanket, isn't this blanket? You saw me, I took it off the blanket. No. That's your philosophy. All is one, right? So the blanket and the thread are also, they're one. No means no. It's in quantity, it's not the same. One thread is not equal to a blanket, right? So that's the point. Knowledge that one is quality yet different in quantity, that is correct. Transcendental knowledge, leading one to become full in himself. Nothing to aspire or lament over. This is the thing. If you attach to something, if you're doing it for yourself, you're going to be attached to the result, which means you're going to hanker for it or lament when it's taken away. So then you're going to be reactive. The reaction of it is going to affect you, right? But if it's for Krishna's pleasure, then it doesn't matter what the result is. If Krishna is pleased with it, I am pleased. That's the point we want to come to in bhakti. So there is no duality in his mind, because whatever he does for Krishna. No duality. Being thus freed from the platform of dualities, he is liberated even in the material world. E yasya haridasya kamana manasa gira nikile priya shopi vastatu jivan mukta sauchita. Even within this lifetime, like we're hearing about Bharat Maharaj, he can be completely liberated and free from the material bondage of birth and death. So that is all the philosophy we're hearing about this verse. Let's take the Bhagavad Gita out of the classroom and see how can we apply something like this now in the outside world, and see how people become attached to their desires, right? Now we were hearing about yesterday's verse that due to sense gratification, we act in any capacity. For our own personal sense gratification, we'll act in any capacity. But we don't realize the reactive nature. Like you can see here, the man has got the cow's face and the cow has got the man's face. So in the next life, they will have to change like this, just because he wants to gratify. So if you serve Krishna, then you don't get reaction like this. And serving Krishna means there's guidelines given of how to serve Krishna. So one of the main ways we get bewildered by what we're supposed to do is TV. Transcendental vision. No. Television, sorry. Television. And this people believe as the reality. This is what they get nourished by. They eat in front of the TV. Everything is done. Family entertainment, socializing, everything is done with the idea of the TV. And this is understood as the reality. The news is the absolute truth. But it's not so. Yes, now trying to gratify one. This is what Arjuna didn't want. He's saying, I don't want to be bound. You have to act. He knows he has to act, but he doesn't want to be bound. Just like this person enjoying, right? Enjoying life. He's got something in his left hand, he's got food in his right hand, and he's enjoying life. But if that is not prasad, what happens there? Bondage. There's another guy who's also enjoying his life, but doesn't understand the principle of being bound. There's another person also. You can see he's really enjoying. His eyes are even closed. He's so deeply absorbed in eating and enjoying his food. Yes, somebody's also enjoyed. Yes, somebody's really enjoyed. You can see evidence of his enjoyment. Yes, somebody you can see completely in ignorance, completely overwhelmed by gratifying his senses. And this is what you can see, it's even all over his cloth, his clothes and everything, you know. So this person is what Arjuna is talking. I don't want to be bound. I don't want to be bound. But the devotee also enjoys, but how he does that? By engaging in Krishna consciousness. You also look at the food that a devotee eats. A whole wonderful thali of Mahaprasad probably. So the devotee also engages in enjoying. Sunday feasts, we don't have it. Unfortunately, we don't have it in Vrindavan, you know. The Sunday feast. It used to be such a great, like an incentive at the end of the week for all the devotees to enjoy a huge feast which is offered to Krishna. So more prasadam. So activities are binding. Arjuna doesn't want to be bound. What is the remedy? Yukta Vairagya. Use it in Krishna's service. And if you do that, then there's a devotee offering the prasad. You can see if you do this, then there's no bondage. You can enjoy how much you want and there's no bondage. You can do so many activities. You can dance, you can chant, you can sing. You can be happy actually in life. Doesn't have to be. You can see here, full kirtan. But what we see is the reality of the world outside. Because of ignorance, they don't know this, how to enjoy. So they think the TV is the thing that is supposed to give me enjoyment. Whatever the TV says. And what the TV says, it's full of advertisements that give us misery. Get pulled into the TV. What is it? Must watch TV. If we don't watch TV, even Dhritarashtra was watching TV. Yes. So this is what the outside world is like without the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. The child is sitting in front of the TV trying to make sense of what he's seeing. And when you switch the TV on, this is what it is telling us. Obey this, do this, conform to this. Did you watch TV today? Consume, consume, obey. People don't realize the evil effects and the power of television to brainwash us. So if you get bewildered by all this information, there's no way you can do Krishna consciousness. You will be bound. Arjuna is saying, don't want to be bound. This is a family sitting together, or children sitting together. This is what the TV does. You can see that hypnotic circle in the center of the TV there. This is what we are feeding our children. How to be bound. We're teaching them how to be bound. Not realizing that we're being controlled by the law of karma. We think we're free, like this person is dancing here, but doesn't realize the strings that are tying him is bound. Arjuna knows this. He doesn't want to be bound. This is somebody's hand, like we were saying, the body, because we're so attracted to the pleasure of the body, right? That's why we do all these things. So just a quick example of the hand. Now the hand can give us some pleasure, like this is somebody's hand, and you can see the fingers So how much of pleasure the finger can give us? Oh, we can, rub our finger, put it in warm water, touch something soft. We can enjoy something. So it's almost, compared to actual happiness, it's insignificant, right? You can see there, so, well, this is a devotee's fingers. Some devotee got really creative. So fingers can give some pleasure, but if you had to stomp your finger, if you had to cut your finger, how much of pain would it give you? So although the pleasure it can give you is insignificant, the pain it can give you is very significant. Like this person is saying, what is he saying there? Finger hurts, it's painful. And look at this person's actual finger. Now, if you tell this person, no, the finger actually can give you enjoyment. Can you see how the person's finger is swollen there? How much of pain this person must be in? So this is Arjuna's idea. It is bondage. It creates a lot of pain. So I had another one here. Just wanted to show you quickly. So Prabhupada explained this point about part and parcel. Now this is a little strong picture because you can see this person has lost the finger. So if the finger is disconnected from the hand, what is the value of the finger? If that piece that is being cut off this person's hand, you can see that the finger is cut off. What is the value of that piece? No value. But if it's connected back to the hand, like this, it's stitched back, then it's part and parcel, now it's connected back. When it's connected back like this, it's sewn and stitched back on, then it can do something. But if it's not connected on, painful, isn't it? This is our state. Only when you see graphic pictures like this, you understand these analogies are very powerful that Prabhupada gives. When it's disconnected, it can't do anything, it's useless. It's even painful. I think there's one more here. This is a sadhu. We'll come to the other picture later. So we're speaking about a renunciate. So this is some kind of a renunciate. This is the idea Arjuna had in mind. Sadhu, Mangalam, Ashirvad. But Krishna is saying, no. You can be a very big renunciate, but you can use everything in my service. Yukta Vairagya. This is the idea Arjuna had in mind. This is another sadhu. This is a person who's saying, I want. Desire and hate. We were hearing about this. Nirgando. Desire and hate. You can see this person's body language. I want this. Give it to me. So what about the bondage of that? The reaction of that? He's not thinking of that, is he? So please give me a sign. So when you're praying to God, please give me a sign of how I can be freed from this. And this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna here. You don't have to worry about being bound. Just work for me. Do it for my pleasure. And you won't be bound. So this is a little cat. So he also has a desire. What's his desire? He wants an iPhone. I don't know what's he going to do with an iPhone. Yeah, so give. The idea is to, we want. So there's duality. Prabhupada spoke about duality also. So even in this material world, you see this is a picture of a sun, but in an eclipse, even the sun becomes black. Duality, light and dark. Even the sun can be completely dark. Here's two species of the same bird. One is black, one is white. Duality. Or blue. On my screen it is darker. So duality here. You can see this is a face here with one eye in the center. It's more something like what Brahma's face would have been like. Duality. This is the point. Duality. Here you see it clearly. Duality. It almost looks like the same person, but it's two different sides of the same person. So this is what we want to do. We want to love what God loves, and we want to hate what God hates. And what does God hate? Krishna hates if you sinful. And everybody, nobody likes sin. Nobody likes sinful activity. So if you if you don't perform sin, that is pleasing to Krishna. And he loves your company also. So you can see here clearly, the fingers are disconnected from the hand. What is the value of the fingers? No value. Can't serve any purpose. But if it was sewn back, the person can actually use it. That's our state right now. We're disconnected from Krishna. Part and parcel. So we showed that one. Now we're just going to quickly.
Ananda Leela, Krishna.
Yes.
Now it's Leela.
This is a Prabhupada explaining this point about enjoying. How can you enjoy in Yukta Vairagya?
Yeah, that time, jubilant. Ananda Leela, Anandamaya Vyasa. He is by nature Anandamaya. Krishna is never find Krishna is very unhappy.
Prabhupada is saying that you never find Krishna unhappy. You ever seen a picture of Krishna unhappy? He's always happy with his devotees, happy with the cows.
Krishna is never unhappy. Krishna is always happy. Therefore, Nanda Gopa, Kumara, Govinda, he is happy, and whoever associates with him, he is happy.
So not only he's happy, whoever associates with him, he's also happy. That's what Prabhupada is saying in the purport. Quantitatively one and different, quality and quantity. Although we're small, but if we connect with Krishna, we can also become happy. Whoever associates with Krishna, he also becomes happy.
We are after sense gratification.
That's the point. We are after sense gratification. Now,
Go means senses. So if you associate with Krishna, you enjoy your senses affluently. Just like the gopis are dancing.
Just like devotees are dancing. We saw that picture.
With Krishna. So there is no scarcity of sense gratification now.
So we are enjoying unlimitedly because we connected to the unlimited source. So there's no limit to the devotee's gratification. But it's completely spiritual. Completely spiritual.
But that is not this sense, gross sense gratification.
That's Prabhupada saying there. It's not gross sense gratification, it's spiritual.
That is spiritual sense. That is spiritual. Ananda Chinamaya Sadhu Jalavigrahasya. We chant every day. That sense gratification is Ananda Chinamaya.
That's the nature of that kind of sense gratification. So it's not that Krishna is depriving us to renounce the world, to live like hermits, like pictures we saw of the sadhus. They don't have any real joy. But the devotee is chanting, dancing, feasting. You saw so much of prasad there, that I showed you pictures of that. He's enjoying unlimitedly. What is there is depriving himself of? Nothing. Unlimited enjoyment.
Chinwa, it is spiritual, not this third class Ananda.
Prabhupada says not this third class Ananda, bodily Ananda. Because second class is mental Ananda, on the subtle platform. And first class is spiritual Ananda.
With this body, this is not Ananda. This is illusion. This is illusion.
This is illusion.
So we are thinking that I am enjoying. But that is not Ananda. This Ananda is not fair because we cannot enjoy this material sense pleasure for long.
Isn't that a fact? You get some pains as you get older, so many complexities, so many pressures, tensions, so much of things come. So on the spiritual level there's no time. So there's no limitation. You can enjoy unlimitedly, eternally.
Everyone has got experience. It is finished. It is finished. But spiritual enjoyment does not finish, it increases. That is the difference.
Okay. So we'll end there because I think we're way after time also. So any questions quickly from anyone? If there's a mic around. Yeah? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanande Hari Bol.